who is an attorney in Broward County, but she grew up in our communities. Matthew Beatty, whose father owns the oldest black newspaper in this community. And I've never seen them in any other debate. But what you see is that they are here today because they see, like many of you see, that there is an opportunity here in the city of Miami if we are not all punished for the sins of our father. You see, if you give people an opportunity to do something positive in their community because they in fact have invested in themselves the way that the community asked them to, they went away, they were educated the way the community asked them to, they came back and served the community the way the community asked them to, then I think that you encourage more people to come here. And when you utilize things that we already have, like the CRA, to start to bring about economic engines in this community and bring about mixed income housing, where now, because people think that Overtown has lost professionals. Well, no, they just retired. So they're still living there in some parts of Overtown. But what we need is we need a community that's re-energized with young professional people. And we do that by bringing culture. We do it by bringing art. We do it by giving this community everything that the DCs have, everything that the Houstons have, everything that New York has. If we can bring that type of vision to the city of Miami, and I believe it takes young people to do that, if we can bring that, then we're going to create a community where young people thrive. And then next thing you know, when you look at the national census of where young people are going, they're business professionals, Miami will be on the map. And the people will look like the people who are in this room. Young, dynamic people who are doing amazing things in the state of Florida, like Shervin Jones, who's a young man, state representative, and people like the people who are here listening to this conversation.
Thank you, Reverend. Let me just make one respectful correction. The Miami Times is the oldest black newspaper in South Florida. So I just want to, owned by the Reeves family. I do respect the Beatty family, but I just wanted to make that correction. Let me say, that's where experience comes in. I'm responding.
Amen.
I heard the question, and really no one answered the question. And you even gave, Mr. Moderator, us an opportunity to say how we would do it. Now, Mr. Hardeman, to his credit, did kind of touch upon it, and I do respect. I do have a lot of admiration for him. I want to state that for the record. Just too young, no experience. But what I will say is, why is everybody laughing? I'm serious. Why? If I can, if you let me. You need to check them. They're being rude. I know this is not a partisan, dumb partisan crowd, but that's okay. This is how you do it. You have to be deliberate. There has to be recruitment drives. The city of Miami has to say, it's not because of crime, Jackie. It's not because of public safety, Robert. It's because African-American young folk don't feel they have opportunities. That's the truth of the matter. And so what we have to do is encourage that. We have to encourage that. Everybody wants to come to, now look at that. Everybody wants to come. Everybody wants to come to Miami. Everyone. So it's not that people don't want to be here. I'm glad to say that when Chief Maurice Kemp, I was not a commissioner, but I fought behind the scenes to help him become the first African-American fire chief for the city of Miami. That's what I'm talking about. You need to be able to encourage that. And when they see an African-American male as a chief or an African-American female as a leader of something, that is what encourages folk to do that. So we have to be deliberate, we have to have recruitment drives, and we have to fight for it, and we have to get the city to subscribe to that. That's how it's done.
Okay, I'm going to give rebuttal. I think this is an issue we need to discuss. You all agree?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. We'll start with Dr. Malone.
And I'm going to put him on the spot. When we went around and talked with small developers like Mr. Tony Joe. Now it was interesting having these conversations and how the impediments and put in front of him cost him more and more money to build. Now he's a young, just like you said, Mr. Hardeman, young, intelligent, have fresh ideas and want to build in the city of Miami. Well, how could he? He's paying thousands upon thousands in permits. He can't get the truth out of code. It's ridiculous. So his incentive to stay here is waning. He's going to do it because he's gone through tough times. But it's just interesting to have someone like him and others who want to invest in this area, who are young and vibrant and have fresh ideas, but City of Miami is impediment. They cannot give you a straight answer. They send you to all kinds of different offices to get an answer with regard to how you build. We cannot continue to have that. That impacts our economic development. And if it impacts the economic development, it impacts the jobs that's going to be promoted because of that economic development. Thank you.
You know, when we think about recruitment drives, I mean, I think about private companies. I mean, the city of Miami could try to recruit people, but I'm talking about having an influx of not just government employees, but private employees. And that's what we need in our community. We need more private employees to give black people the opportunities to do something positive in our community. Because right now, government employees are being cut. But Reverend Dunn, when you talk about uplifting of African American people, especially females, I mean, it's so hypocritical to say that when the one female that we had on the City of Miami Commission, 2 children, 1 husband, the one that's been fighting for Little Haiti, Buena Vista, Liberty City, all these different communities, the one that we call Commissioner Michelle Spence-Jones, you sued her after her name was thrown in the mud and she vindicated herself. But you sued to take away my grandmother's right to have her serve this community for 8 years. And that's what she was elected for. You sided with your attorney who we know is a Republican and has been a part of different vote suppressing efforts. But you did that to destroy not only the community, but that woman.
I was hoping that this would come out because I'm prepared for it. Please give me the time to respond.
Yeah, that time in right there.
I didn't sue Michelle Spence-Jones. I upheld the city charter, Mr. Attorney. And you being a lawyer should appreciate that.
We can talk about it.
Because the law is important. The citizens in 1999 voted unanimously by 73%, saying that no one could serve for 3 consecutive terms. The record is 3. What happened to Michelle Spence-Jones? It was unfortunate, but she received. Nobody talks about the more than $200,000 she received when she returned, so she didn't lose that. No one talks about the $90,000 a year that she will get for the rest of her life for the next when she turns 55. She didn't lose that. No one talks about the taxpayers, and we should have, paying for her legal fees. So if President Obama were to break his leg today and be out for 6 months, his time is up. No one owns a seat. It belongs to the residents of the city of Miami.
Ms. Clerk, you to respond to the original question of how.
You know, they're doing it again. I mean, and see, that's why you need a woman on that desk. Look at this. I mean, without somebody in there to bring some balance and some adult supervision, this is what we get. And if you notice, you know, that was the good thing about having a woman on the commission. It did bring a sense of balance because this is what happens. But what I really want to talk about is the fact that, what was the question? Because they got so carried away with everything,
How do you capture the talent, keep them here?
This is your second time at it. You should know the question by now.
Oh,
Respect, please. Before
just 3 times you didn't get it right.
Respect.
Okay. You bring talent back, and it is about personal safety. It is about having confidence in a community. And you can't do that by just having recruitment drives. It's about having policy that teaches and trains police on how to police differently. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and think that we're going to get different results. We have not changed anything with our policing except as it related to the mental health. When we brought in what was called the community enforcement teams, and what they were able to do, CIT, community whatever team, and what they did was to stop. It stopped police shooting of individuals with mental health issues to 0. We can do better with our police. They have to be trained, and we have the opportunity of a lifetime because we will have over 200 police officers leaving the force through trial.
Thank you so much. Moving on to development. There are conversations surrounding some major redevelopment in Overtown community to include All Aboard Florida's development of a commercial project and relocation of its headquarters, as well as the jazz and blues inspired multi-use district by developers R. Donahue, Peebles, and Baron Shannon. People are even talking displacement of the lower income residents, reminiscent of the original construction of I-95, and taking of properties by eminent domain. Is this true? And if so, are you in support of the redevelopment plans and why? Oh, I have to pick someone. Ms. Collier.
I'm glad you asked me to start this one because this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I lived in Overtown for 20 years, and a part of what I began to see was development and displacement. There's got to be a way to bring about a balance. We don't have to displace people when development occurs. And what we've had happen in this, especially in the Overtown community, because it started 25 years ago. When the arena was built, I was living in Overtown, they built the arena and over 3,000 people were displaced. They put up parking lots and an arena. We've got to figure out, number one, the challenge right now with the CRA is that there is no procurement policy that is actually one that works. What we have is a willy-nilly, who knows what, and if you really want to know the truth, all you have to do is look at the financial statements for who's given to who. Then that tells you exactly who the special interests are. The special interest is not the Miami Herald. The special interests are the folks who are making sure that this community remains the way it is. We can do better than this. This community deserves better. Overtown deserves better. Overtown deserves for the people who have lived there to be able to remain there and to have decent, affordable housing. Mixed income is important, and I know that's a part of the project, but it's all about how we work with that community to bring about balance and to make sure that we develop without displacement. I think we can do it, but I think that a part of what we have to do is begin to listen to the people who live there.
Mr. Hartley.
The question really was, Jackie didn't really answer, but I can get to it because the first thing is it going to displace, the project that you named, is it displacing people? No, I mean, there are lots that people aren't going to be displaced from in that particular area, but in Overtown particularly, you have to understand that there is investment in affordable housing that will continue to be introduced to that community. So affordable housing will be available to people who are 60% and 80% below the poverty line. And that's important because the people who are there, a lot of them can't afford market rate units if they are introduced. However, what I think is important about that area is that we have to maintain those affordable housing projects, because if we maintain those communities, then the character stays the same. But then we have to also build those some market rate and mixed use facilities so that we can encourage the new generation of people, young people, to come into that community and really start to thrive and bring Overtown to the glory that it was before. And when you say, well, what do they look like? Honestly, they are public defenders. They are police officers. They are teachers. They are people who make $40,000 a year, but will have the potential to do a lot more as time progresses. That's the character that Overtown needs. And if we can do that, along with having businesses come into that community, having coffee shops and having bookstores and having things that really encourage the black diaspora that it used to be, then I believe that Overtown will thrive. It's not about what I-95 did. You know, we have to keep that in mind, but we're moving forward. And as long as I'm commissioner, I'm going to keep a vision for that community, especially with the CRA that has a lot more money to spend in that community, that it does it in a way that's wise, that it does it in a way that's beneficial to the people there, and that it does it in a way that's beneficial for City Miami as a whole.
Reverend Nunn.
One of the things that has to happen that hasn't in many cases, when the developers come to our community, one of the first things that many commissioners have done is put their friends in deals. And we got to stop that. We have to stop putting our friends over and above the community. When you fight for the community, Town Park right now is facing a 40-year recertification. That's what you're talking about. And if we don't get those units fixed or repaired, there will be massive displacement. And so one of the things that I'm doing, Jackie, Robert, not Keon, because we're the front runners, so then people do give to us. So that's part of why they give to you. People give. And by the way, President Barack Obama, you know how much money he raised? Over $500 million. But he's the president of the United States. It takes money to win campaigns. But one of the things that we say and will be saying when we're elected to developers is you're going to have some community benefits. And one of the first things you're going to do is make sure that the people in Overtown will have somewhere to live. And if the repairs are being done, that they will have a temporary, comfortable, convenient displacement, but be able to return in a reasonable and fashionable manner. If that's not addressed, but if your focus is on getting a deal for your friend, getting this one as a consultant, getting that one as a consultant, you'll never be able to get it done.
Thank you, Dr. Malone.
Well, what's going on in Overtown area, the eminent domain is what's going on. Also, with regard to the new deal where you appraise a land for $20 million and you sell it off for $5 million, $2.5 million each lot. I think that, and I don't know particularly all the details of the deal, but just reading on its face, I think that it's kind of funny to have that happen. And I think people probably need to look into that and how that deal came about. And I agree with the Reverend about that as well. When you build development, what ends up happening, the property taxes go up. And if you're in a low-income area, and the people who are in, as Mr. Hardeman said, they're in affordable housing. The people that own that land, they don't want to pay it, they give it to the renters. The renters can't pay it anymore, they're displaced, they leave. They have to, they're forced out for the most part. This is what happens in development, unfortunately. How we address it, well, again, I like the example of Wynwood. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, if you grew up in Miami and you went down 3rd Avenue and you went through Wynwood, it was an eyesore. No one would go into Wynwood. People were being robbed. People being held up. You wouldn't be safe there. And also it borders one of the worst public housing areas on the other side of the street. But you had people who had vision, who had the resources, who turned, who have galleries. Now they have galleries. They invested in galleries. Have one, I understand, one of the best Italian restaurants in Wynwood. They just started a business improvement district, where they tax themselves to improve the Wynwood area, the streets, the lights, and also and work with the city of Miami in addressing those issues. I think it can turn around, but it will not turn around immediately. We have to. It's going to be a long project. Thank you.
Thank you. A rebuttal to this question comes from the audience. Mr. Matthew Beatty has a rebuttal to this question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for sharing your time with us, the residents of District 5. I am Matthew Beatty. I'm actually a resident of the Shorecrest neighborhood, and I'm also a member of Church of the Open Door, located at 60th and 8th in Liberty City. So this neighborhood and district is dear to my heart. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I like to cut right through the fray and get to business. There's a long-standing, well-documented history of alleged impropriety with regards to real estate deals that benefit low-income residents in District 5 and the surrounding area. Whether it's misappropriated grant funds from the county, or if it's exorbitant donations that are given to campaigns. There seems to be this culture of, if you're not a part of this special interest, that you are excluded from these deals. In the interest of full disclosure, please name all of the real estate development firms that have given to your respective campaigns. And what would you do, if elected, to make sure that you level the playing field so that those projects are bidded out to more real estate development organizations than those that are currently in play?
Yes. I can't really name all of them. No, I'm giving, I would have to have my report in front of me, but I will say that in politics, so that people understand this, usually people give, if you know anything about politics, and they usually give to individuals who they believe will win, point blank. That's how it's done.
Amen.
I didn't create that climate, I didn't create that atmosphere, that is just the way it is. So it is up to the individuals who are the recipients of that, and no developer on the face of this earth could ever tell you it takes integrity, that Richard P. Dunn II has ever asked for anything for himself. I've never done it, I never will do it. It will always be about what's good for the community. And so I believe that's one of the ways you start. When you put the community first, then you don't have to worry about that. When you start trying to put deals in for your friends and all that, that's when you get in trouble.
Amen.
Mr. Collier.
Two people on this dais can't tell you how much they've gotten from developers because they've gotten a lot. And when you get a lot from developers, they expect a lot. And a part of the reason, Matthew, that this community looks the way it does, I'm not saying it's all of the reason, but a part of the reason is because when you take money from folks, they expect not only access, but they also expect that they will be. So I'm just saying to you, the folks who are giving to me are the folks who live and have small businesses in the district. Family. Folks who believe and who want to see this district change. Who want to see a future that is much brighter than its past. Because as long as we continue to fund and finance our campaigns through just the same way, we're going to end up with what we've gotten for the last 40 years.
Mr. Harden.
The major developers in our communities are organizations like Carlisle, Pinnacle, Gatehouse. I can't think of another major one. But when I think about, when I listen to what you said, what it reminded me of the Carlisle deal that just made the newspaper in the Miami Herald. And that organization gave, I believe, Commissioner Audrey Edmondson upwards of $40,000 in their last campaign. I'm proud to say I don't have any money from Carlisle. I think Carlisle, because of Commissioner Audrey Edmondson, who's overwhelmingly supporting Mr. Dunn, they wouldn't give me any money if I asked for it. Pinnacle hasn't given me any money for this election. Gatehouse, I believe, gave me maybe about $1,500, but that's hardly the amount of money that Ms. Jaquetta Collier gets from her special interest people in her PAC, the Better Community Leadership, something that she keeps trying to hide from people. But so
You don't know anything about that, Pat.
I know a lot about
She owes him an apology, Mr. Moderator. She owes him an apology. Come on, let's play by the same rules. She owes Mr. Harden an apology.
I owe him an apology.
And he turned around and was going to give them all.
But in that sense, but there are realty companies. I mean, there are people who are in this room that own their own real estate. They own 19 houses or own small businesses and developments and things of that nature that have given money to my campaign. So there is money that comes, that if you look at my campaign report, that says real estate, and that's what that means. Those are people from our community giving to me.
Dr. Miller.
Okay, we're gonna stick to the issue, right? We're gonna come back to it, right? Look, I have a more personal experience. Checks were given to me from an unseemly source, and it was promptly returned the following day at 9:30 a.m. because I'm not a guaranteed vote for no one. I want to be clear about that. That's number one. We have a problem with developers who have a stronghold in the city of Miami. I want to support somebody like Tony Cho and Andrew Frey and these other small developers who are trying to do something real meaningful, who have a vision. And that's why when I become commissioner, they are the ones who I'm going to support in what they're trying to do. And Mr. Hardeman is correct. Carlisle has given to not only Edmondson, but has also given to Commissioner Jones and several others in the city and the county and the mayor. So I want to be clear now, the city of Miami needs to change its way of doing things with regard to how they take money from big developers. Thank you.
We have 2 remaining questions and we'll be out of here, and we're going to take them from the audience. We're going to call Ms. Joanne de Haiti. She wants to ask a question about Little Haiti.
Good question.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Pick it up, please. Can somebody?
Okay, my name is Joanne de Haiti. I'm actually born and raised in Little Haiti. I'm 26 years now, 26-year-old now, and I just became aware of this last debate a couple of days ago. I never knew we had a commissioner, District 5, never knew nothing about it. And the only way I came across it is because I was sitting in the FIU library and I just texted my partner and I said, you know, I want to do something for the Haiti. So we Googled and we Googled and we Googled. And then we ended up finding out about forming. I called your office and a young lady told me about the meeting. So we here. I wanted to ask you guys, because I feel like it's already too late for us because we're grown. What are you guys planning on doing for our youth? Because I have a 6-year-old. My partner has a 2-year-old. And we strive to make it where we at. And we're not leaving, and we're starting something here in Little Haiti. So I want to know what you guys are planning on doing for our youth. Because we're going to be here critiquing y'all on whatever y'all do.
Dr. Malone.
Well, thank you for the question. I work with young people. I guess that's my, I don't want to say it's my calling, but I work with young people all the time. And what I try to do is inspire them. I try to make sure that they have the necessary information to go on to college. But I also teach them about integrity. And I also tell them about the most powerful word, I think, is choice. See, you have a choice on what you want to do. Every day that you get up, you take a bath, you do all those kind of things because you know that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, that people won't hang around with you. So it's important that we instill, that we tell young people that they have a choice. In choice in getting the education, in choice in inspiring others, and in choice in making sure that their community is great. I want to be the commissioner who go around and who provides that leadership, that transformational leadership as Mr. Hardeman suggested. That we see a change within 8 years under my leadership. Not only on the City of Miami Commission, but within the communities. They can see this person who came from Overtown and Liberty City, and at the end of the day has a PhD. The statistics and data said that would never happen. But I'm in front of them every single day in Miami-Jackson, in Miami Northwestern, and in inner cities all throughout District 5. As an example. You lead by example, and that's what I plan to do as City of Miami Commission. Thank you.
Mr. Hardeman.
I think the first thing you need to do is go where the children are. So as a City of Miami Commissioner, one of the powers that I have is to help invest in our parks and recreation. When I was a child, that was the lifeline of our communities. And I think still today, it continues to be. Because that's where you find the children of our community learning about discipline, learning senses of responsibility, learning to play sports and learning teamwork. If we invest there, not only do we touch them, but we touch our seniors. And so when we think about statistics, like from the 2010 statistics, about from 2000 to 2010, more than 12,800 people left Little Haiti. And so the question is, when they left, what did our communities do to really put a sense of community back into that area, and there was much of nothing. So the more that we invest in our parks and recreation, the more we invest in organizations like Miami Children's Initiative, and the more that we get this community away from having, then the more we'll be able to produce great offspring, and along with your help, because it takes a community to raise a child. And so with everyone's help, with people like yourself who are concerned about what we're doing in this community, I think that as a teamwork, as teams, as a community of togetherness, we can make sure that young people in our community have a future, because that's what I'm trying to do. You see, I want a future in this community, and that's why I'm here today, because that's all I have in front of me is my future. A lot of the people who are on this panel today, they have their past behind them. And, you know, we talk about experience, we talk about all these great things, but the question is, what will you do, not for yourself, not for your self-gratification, but for our community as a whole? How to use that experience to make this community better. And if you couldn't do it in 30 years, don't ask this community to give you another 8 years to make it happen.
First thing I'd like to say is one of the things that you have to have, young lady, one of the things I did when I was commissioner that I'll do again when I become commissioner, you need to understand the culture of Haitians. My question is, since we hear all of this rhetoric, how many of these panelists have actually been to Haiti? I have. And I went on my own dime. And not only did I go on my own dime, but I took about 3 or 4 other Haitian Americans from this community on my dime. So this is what you have to do to understand the culture. And let me just say what I found very quickly. I found respectful people, I found proud people, I found people with dignity, and it was right after the earthquake, and I was never in my life seen the strength of a people. And I want to applaud the Haitian Americans. You need to be applauded, right? Every Haitian American, because you showed me what it's really like to smile in the midst of agony. People lost family members, they lost children, fathers and mothers, and I saw it with my own eyes, and I paid for it out of my pocket. Now, what I've also done, son, is this. I've also done, I say that affectionately. Yeah, he's like a son. He's like a son. No, I'm talking, yeah, like a son. You're like a son.
I love you too.
Let me say this. I'm saying that affectionately. I have sponsored scholarships for children at Miami Edison Senior High School. I've been supportive of Miami. You can ask the principal, you can ask Dr. Ortiz now, who was an assistant superintendent. He said, at the time Commissioner Dunn, you are one of the most involved commissioners in this community. I'm a graduate of Miami Northwestern, but I made it my business to get involved with the young people in the Edison, because I knew Edison in the city of Miami was where most Haitian Americans attended. And I've been supportive from day one. I will continue to be supportive whether I'm in office or not. I don't need a title, even though I will get one in November the 5th. I don't need a title to do the work. I do the work because I love people and I love helping children. And in 2010, we provided over 200 jobs for the team during the Summer Youth Team Program.
Amen. You know, all of the other candidates can talk about what they're going to do and what they want to do. I'm the only candidate that has an actual component of my platform that addresses children and youth. I actually talk about building a future of hope for our children. And for me, that means just tying everything that I've done in my career, and you know, it may be longer than one of the candidates has been on earth, but it is truly about a life that is about serving children. Right now, I serve as the Director of Neighborhood and Community Services for the Children's Trust. And if you have young children, probably one of your children attends a Children's Trust summer camp, or attended a summer camp, or an after-school program. And if you've ever had anything to do with the Department of Children and Families, I hope that you haven't, but if you have, I was a director of the Department of Children and Families. So I understand what it means, and as a mother, you know, and a grandmother whose grandson is up top there, I understand. Oh, he's down here now. I understand what it means, you know, to really put together programs and services but also to bring parents and grandparents into the mix. I really believe in intergenerational programs where individuals who are legacy builders in our communities can teach young children. And where you as a mom, one of the things that have been worked on very diligently is parenting programs and parenting clinics. And the Miami Children's Initiative has a great program called, something called Baby College. But I think that a part of what I believe and know we have to do is something very similar to what has happened in the Harlem Children's Zone, and that is leaving no child behind, where we do whatever it takes. And that's what I'll do.
Thank you. Our last question of the evening comes from a young lady who bought into what Miami has to offer, recently moved to District 5, and so she has a question for you tonight. Please welcome.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Christy Thornton, and as Ben expressed, I just recently moved to District 5, and you all have expressed your passion and dedication to District 5 as evidenced by you running for this position. And so my question to you is, in the event that you do not win, how do you intend to support the commissioner-elect?
Reverend Dunn, I guess. I got caught up in the question.
In 2005, I lost a very nasty election to Commissioner Michelle Spence-Jones. I realized, I'm not talking about what I want to do, what I plan to do, I'm telling you what I've already done. I realized that it wasn't going to benefit our community for us to continue to fight. So I began to support Commissioner Spence-Jones, so much so that she put me over the United Housing Task Group that dealt with the village over on 17th Avenue and 62nd Street that ended up in an explosion. So I'm a person of I have a conciliatory spirit. I realize, and that comes from my biblical background, I don't hold grudges. I say what I have to say and I move on. And I think that has been one of the problems here in Miami. When people lose elections, they hate each other forever. And we've got to realize, one, we're not to be served, we are to serve. We need to realize that it's not all about us, it's all about the community. And that's what I plan to do. It has always been, most of my accomplishments occurred when I was not a commissioner. Again, so I don't need a title I'll be all right one way or the other, but I do plan to win on November 5th.
Dr. Malone.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem. Whoever is the next commissioner, I will work with. I may have disagreements with one of the. It's something that I continue to do. When Reverend Dunn was a commissioner, again, I have a disagreement with him. But again, I would work with him, if Mr. Hardiman as well, and Ms. Collier as well. And you know, I appreciate and respect all of them for what they do. With Ms. Collier, with young people, young black males, and with the Reverend Dunn and the decades that he's devoted to service. And I'm sincere about that. No, seriously, I'm being sincere about that. I'm not trying to take a shot at you at all. Because he has, and also Mr. Hardman, and the great things that he has done with his life and becoming an attorney and coming from the areas that I came from as well, that would not be an issue. So I will continue to work and be an activist in the community, addressing some of the issues that impact the city of Miami.
Ms. Collier.
You know, I've served on just about every major board in this community. I have supported candidates in this community. I have worked in this community. And this race is just the culmination of something that I've wanted to do and that was asked to do. But it's not going to stop me from, you know, continuing to serve and continuing to be the champion for children and continuing to be the champion for the individuals and the voters in this community. So, that being said, that's it.
Mr. Hardiman.
his family. I echo the sentiments of everyone on this panel. I think that you all see us and we go back and forth about the different issues that we believe in, because we all have our way of addressing the social ills that our community faces, the economic ills that our community faces. But at the end of the day, we are one community. And everyone who's sitting up here has done something different and unique to support this community. And when this race is over, as with this race is going to today, I mean, we have a sense of camaraderie. And that type of sense of camaraderie and that passion for public service in our community, I think, is more important than the actual position in and of itself. No matter what, who wins, that person may only have a certain number of positions on their staff. I don't have to worry about getting a job or anything of that nature, but there are things that you can do to help, such as appointments in the community, such as not even being appointed, and maybe just offering the knowledge that you have to make that community better, or to better their plan that they're trying to move forward with and better our community. So just being sounding boards for each other is very important. And as long as we can continue to do that, I think that this community is going to move forward in a positive direction.
Thank you, and we certainly thank you for coming out tonight. If you would provide closing statements, we'll start with...
Real audience. Statement from the real audience. That's me talking right here.
I know I'm looking for our help. Ms. Collier.
You know, to me, this campaign is about the future. You know, we can move forward with a leader who has bold ideas and who really has a vision for where we can go in this community. I believe that District 5 now sits on the verge of some wonderful things, some wonderful opportunities, not only in the areas of policing, but in economic development and infrastructure building, and also in how we create a vibrant community for our children, for our grandchildren, for our seniors, and for our families. Now, if we want to do the same things that we've always done over and over and over, we can continue by just putting the same type of special interest people in office. But if not, this community has a wonderful opportunity to vote for someone who is forward-thinking, who believes in community, and who believes that there is a way for all of us to move forward together. You can vote for someone who has the only interest in mind is each of you who sit here and who are members of District 5, who are residents of District 5. My only interest is in you, this community, and how we can grow and move forward. And so I ask you to vote for me, and my press punch, whatever number it's called, is 76. 76. 76. Thank you.
I have the utmost respect for Jackie Collier. I really do. I just believe that some of her views are unrealistic and idealistic. And it is because even the fact of the special interest, you know, I'm sure most of us sitting here supported President Barack Obama. And I can assure you he had tons of big contributions from people, because people realized, and developers and attorneys, whoever you want to call them, they supported him because they believed he was the best person for the job. That's where I believe we are right now. I'm the best person for the job. I mean, based on my past experiences in serving only 19 months. I have not served for 6 years. I've not served for 4 years. I've not served for 8 years. People get it twisted with my community service. My community service, which was free and voluntary, was done because I love this community. We would not be talking about a District 5 election tonight 2 times if it were not for this person sitting here by the name of Richard P. Dunn II. I filed the lawsuit in 1996, and I upheld the City of Miami charter in the most recent, and I didn't sue Michelle Spence-Jones, I sued the City of Miami and the ill-advised opinion of City Attorney Julie Brew, point blank. If you were sick and you were on the verge of a life and death situation, or one of your children got in trouble, and you needed to get somebody who could get it done, you wouldn't get someone who you think may have some idealistic, grandiose idea. Oh, I got big ideas. No, you would get someone who you know has done it before and who could do it again. Punch 77 for Richard Dunn so we can do it again, and this time we're going to do it for 4 and 8 years. Thank you very much.
I want to try something with you all, and bear with me. I've been working on this for the last couple of weeks. Bonsoir, Kijo Noye, Nomwe, Dr. Malone Jr., Canada, District 5. Moué, gain, espoir pour nous, car travail, ensemble, pour nous fêter à Haiti, yon pi bon côté, pour nous vivre à travail. Si ou avec, moué, c'est qu'à marcher bien. Merci à Dieu. Translated is that I want to work with all the communities, especially Little Haiti, in doing the best job that I can. It is critical that you choose a leader who want to work with everyone in District 5, and not just special interests, not just big developers, but everyone. And that's what I plan to do as City Miami Commission, working with everyone. My history in the community is there. I just want to help. The City of Miami, District 5 is in need of some help. And we need someone who's going to provide that help. I'm Dr. Malone, candidate for City of Miami Commission, Punch 79. Thank you.
This election is not about the past, but it's about the future. The future of not just only District 5, but the City of Miami as a whole, as an entirety. So the question you have to ask yourself, residents of District 5, is do you want a community where you can shop at Whole Food stores, where you can listen to jazz and music and visit museums and art? Do you want a community where you can read books and you can enjoy the liveliness of a bustling, diverse, and an energetic city? Where you can afford to go to the shows, where you can afford to travel and enjoy the company of people who are like-minded, like you. Where you can have an opportunity to live in Little Haiti, in Overtown, in Wynwood, in the Upper East Side. You can live in Bayside and things of that nature. That's what this election is about. It's about bridging those gaps and creating opportunities for the people who live here and not pushing them out. This election takes vision. What we don't need is a pastor who's willing to lie to the community to become elected. We don't need that. What we don't need is a woman that resigns from the Department of Children and Families after one of the worst deaths that occurred under her watch. What we don't need is someone who wants to be commissioner that can only talk about the problems that exist in the community but has not yet to articulate a vision for it. We need vision. And we need someone who understands business and who understands law and who can use those two intersections to do something positive for the future of this community. Because that's where our community is moving, to the future. Thank you.
Can we all stand and give all the candidates a round of applause for their efforts tonight? We thank you so much. Surveys, please fill out your surveys and turn them into the table. Also, there's a black Maxima. You left your keys inside the door. If you're driving a black Maxima, your keys are inside of the door. License plate, don't try to steal nobody's car. ASE X71. That's you up there? Okay, we got him. Thank y'all for coming out. Enjoy your evening.